Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Flagler Weather Outlook. This is provided by Flagler Weather Info, supported by Flagler County Assist. And today is the 12th of April, 2026. So, pretty calm morning compared to the weather we had last week here across the area. Looking at satellite imagery as the sun is just coming up, you can see maybe some cloud trying to stream in from offshore, but largely clear skies to start. There was some fog around, but not necessarily right here. We haven't had any reports of fog. There could be some patchy fog on the west side of the county. That should be burning off pretty rapidly. So let's go ahead and talk about what's going to be happening and how is that going to affect our weather as we go through this week here in Flagler County. So we do have a front that's trying to wedge in from the north here, but it's not going to quite make it. It's going to fade away. So conditions stay settled right into the middle part of the week. As high pressure, it's off the map, but we're under influence of high pressure. Stormy weather staying well off to the north and west, at least through the middle part of the week. So let's go and talk about a couple different things. First off, let's talk briefly about the rainfall that we had. So this is kind of a cool feature on the National Weather Service website. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to look at precipitation. And I got to call up precipitation so far this month. So this gives us an idea. And let's see if I can make it a little bit easier to read here. So anyways, this gives you an idea. And here's the scale right here. How much rain did we get last week? All of this yellow is basically 2 to 3 inches of rain, and some of this orange is 3 to 4 inches of rain. Now, looking at spotter reports, we had the highest rainfall I saw reported was 4.5 inches. The least amount of rain I saw, and that was in Palm Coast. The least amount of rain I saw was almost 2 inches, 1.71, and that was in the southeast part of Flagler Beach. Strongest wind gust I saw was 48 miles an hour at the Marineland Weather Station. That was on the beaches. The strongest inland wind gust I saw was 27 miles an hour. And so this forecast, remember when we were here last week, we were talking about possibility of 3 to 4 inches of rain across the entire area. That pretty much is how it played out. Some places were a little bit above that. Some places were a little bit below that. So are we going to see any weather like that this week? Well, let's take a look. So likely not in the short version. Let's take a look at the hazards right now that the National Weather Service is talking about, providing I can get it to load. If it does not, we will just skip to the next thing. There it goes. So there's a fog potential every morning. High risk rip currents continues with us. And let's talk about that right now. So high risk of rip currents, that is going to stay with us as we go through at least the next few more days due to that onshore flow. So if you get friends from out of town, if they're going to the beaches, just be aware of that rip current risk. The ocean temperature is 74 degrees, but unless you know what you're doing, those rip currents can kill you. So especially for folks that are not used to the ocean, that come down and visit, if you got friends visiting from out of town, if they're not used to ocean currents, they should not be going into the water until things calm down. We are still in extreme drought, even though the rainfall did temper things a little bit. But, it won't take too long for us to dry out if we don't get any more rainfall in the near future. So let's go ahead and talk about the forecast now. So rain chances, let's talk about that. No rain chances through this entire week. So it looks to be dry all the way through. So we're going to focus on temperatures this time. And let's get to temperatures here. And so looking at the high temperatures today, generally right near 80 degrees for most of us, 70s at the beaches. Remember, it's going to be a breezy onshore wind, and that's going to keep the temperatures a little bit cooler at the beaches. The ocean temperature is 74 degrees, and that's going to go ahead and keep things right around the mid-70s right along the immediate beaches. Now, as you go further inland, you're going to see the warmer temperatures. When you get into about Bunnell, this US 1 FEC Railway corridor here, right around 80 degrees. Palm Coast, upper 70s, but of course, further west you go in Palm Coast, the warmer it will be. Out here by Mondex, out here by Andalusia, lower 80s out there, 82 at Cody's Corner. How cool is it going to get? It's going to cool down a little bit. So temperatures bottoming out right near 60 degrees, maybe some upper 50s in some locations. Probably not as cool as it was this morning, but because the ocean temperature, once again, the ocean's a big influence because it is 74 degrees. It's going to keep things warmer right along the beaches. Now, as we go through the week, look for temperatures to get right about where they were Monday, where they were today, right near 80 degrees, cooler at the beaches. Tomorrow night, looking for lows right near 60 degrees. And as we go through the week, we don't really see too much change. We do, as we get to Thursday rather, we see temperatures starting to warm up now. Now we're getting into the mid 80s inland, mid to upper 70s at the beaches. And then as we get into, we're still looking at nighttime temperatures right near 60 degrees. So as we get towards the end of the week, now we're starting to close in on 90 degrees at inland locations. So Mondex could get up to 90, upper 80s inland locations, mid 80s right along I-95, and then upper 70s and near 80 at the beaches as temperatures continue to warm. And then by Saturday, we're solidly near 90 on the west side of the county. Upper 80s, it might flirt with 90, mid part of the county, and mid 80s, east part of the county, with the exception of the beaches where we will be just getting to 80 there. Remember, the ocean temperature is 74 degrees. It will influence those temperatures. So, and then low temperatures, mid 60s by that time. So things slowly warm up, specifically from about Thursday onward. We're going to notice that warming trend. So how about the breezes? How gusty is it going to get? We'll take a look at that real quick. Today, a little breezy, gust up to 21 miles an hour. And then as we go through the rest of the week, gusting up to 15 miles an hour. Nothing like the nor'easter we had last week. Looks very pleasant out there. Looks like some gorgeous weather. If you get outside stuff going on, looks really good for that. Again, just beware of those rip currents at the beaches. Watch out for the possibility of dense fog in those early morning hours. Now, as we begin to wrap up here, let's go ahead and talk about our long-range forecast. So this takes us from April 17th to April 21st. We are looking at temperatures to be above average through that period. Precipitation chances right now looks like a little below normal just by a tidge. So things look to stay warm and dry, at least through the middle part of April. Doesn't mean you can't get a few showers, but overall trend will be drier than normal. We do like to see some rain getting in here time to time to keep us out of trouble with the wildfires. Going further, this takes us into April 25th. Look for temperatures to be above normal, and then look for precipitation to be below normal. So, and as we go further on, let's go ahead and talk about a few other things here. So there's been a lot of chat about, I just got to find my way there. Stand by. And I'm just going to do it this way. So that's not what I want to do. I want to go here. Okay, so just going to take a quick look because there's some chatter about El Nino and La Nina and all that stuff. What does it mean for us? So right now we are seeing ocean temperatures. This is where El Nino and La Nina come from, the Pacific Ocean. We're starting to see temperatures warming right here, right along the Central American countries, Panama and stuff. So this is a sign of an El Nino developing. So let's go ahead and look at that. Just a quick look at what their outlook is. And so right now, as things stand, we do have a La Nina advisory, but an El Nino watch has been issued now. So it looks like El Nino is on the way. What does that mean for us? Well, it's got a couple different things with it. One is that it means a slower hurricane season. It does not mean that we don't have any storms at all. You can have a very slow season and still get hit with a really bad storm. And if you just wanted proof of that, just go back to 1992 and look at Hurricane Andrew. There was only 5 storms, and Andrew was one of them. So it doesn't matter how busy it is, it just takes one storm. But the other thing, too, is it does increase the risk of local severe weather here in Florida, especially during those winter and spring months. So that's something we might have to look out for as we go through next season. So anyways, so that's just some news on that front. But overall today looks like a gorgeous day. Sunny spells, maybe some cloud moving in from time to time. Also look for the dry conditions to persist throughout the week. No big storm systems, no nor'easters or anything like that coming. So, and no chance of rain at this point in time. Everybody out there have a great rest of the day, and thank you for watching.